Hey everyone, it's Friday, May 13th, 2022. That means it's time for another episode of Live with Virginia NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of your state chapter, Virginia NORML. As always, we're going to talk all things cannabis in the Commonwealth, and we'll answer your burning questions live. Hello, Llewellyn. I haven't seen you in so long, friend. Good to see you. Happy Friday, Ryan. What's up, Stonerman 15? Oh, goodness. Ryan, glad you got off work. All right, everyone, ready for the weekend? Hello, Patrick. Thank you, friend. Thanks to good people like you, Patrick, that we're able to do this work. So I appreciate that. Hey, Kimberly, happy Friday to you as well. So listen, friends, while in the news, it's kind of been a quiet week in Virginia. Oh, Cassidy, I meant to share this one little article with you. I'm going to post it in here, Cassidy, and you can see if it's worthwhile. No, Dr. Peace is quoted in that. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Fonz. Hi, Amy. Good to see everyone. All right. So while it appears to be all quiet on the Virginia front, it's not. That's right, friends. The budget's still hanging out there. The legislature has to approve the budget. So they'll be coming back to vote on that sometime soon. And when they do, there's still the potential for the administration to do something about so many things, but in particular about cannabis, and in particular about the unregulated products that continue to proliferate on Virginia shelves. Now, make no mistake, no one at NORML is indicating that people ought to be criminalized for possessing these products, nor should, really anyone be criminalized for these products, but they ought to be regulated. The reason why we think this is because we believe you, dear consumers. We're here for your rights. We're here for your safety, for your protection. And we do believe you deserve to know what you're buying, that what's on the label ought to be what's in the package. And without regulatory oversight, friends, there's really no way to ensure that's happening. So we'll see what happens. Hey, Todd, kicking us off with the big question right out of the gate. I don't know. Not this Congress. Listen, Todd, this is a great question. And as I'm sure you know, Todd, the U.S. House has passed the MORE Act repeatedly, has voted a number of times to end America's failed experiment with marijuana prohibition. The Senate, however, has yet to do that. Now, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer does have his own bill to end federal marijuana prohibition, to get the feds out of states' way and allow them to set their own policies free from federal interference. However, we haven't seen that bill start moving yet. So we've seen a draft. Need a minute. You know what, Todd, though? Since you brought this up, there is a piece of legislation out there that has been in a variety of formats, the Safe Banking Act, and in all reality, the likelihood is that that's the bill or the type of bill that Congress is most likely to approve first. And right, we get it. It doesn't end prohibition, but it would if it were to pass, either as a standalone bill or as incorporated into some other large piece of legislation. It would be the first time that the federal government recognizes and legitimizes the cannabis industry in the United States. So we're here for it. Thanks for asking. And yes, Scott does bring up a great point. It is the makeup of the Senate. So even when Senator Schumer's bill is before the Senate, it's not likely to pass because they don't have the votes, because you all keep electing people that aren't good on cannabis policy. So maybe think about that next time you head to the ballot box if this is a priority for you. And if you are voting soon, and it's May, so a number of you are voting soon in primaries around the country, be sure to head to vote.normal.org and check out NORML's Smoke the Vote voter guide to legalizing marijuana in your state, so you know where the candidates stand before you vote for them. And if we don't have any information from that candidate and you know something, don't worry, you can submit that tip to us right through the website, and we'll take a look at it and get that information on the website. I'm going to catch up on your comments here. Hey, Christopher. I'm just going to leave your comment there for everyone for a minute. Hi, Tamra. Good to see you. Speaking of voting, you know, Jennifer knows. Scott, I'm glad you brought that up. Friends in Virginia, Bobby Scott, Tim Kaine, Elaine Luria, they are all excellent proponents of common sense cannabis policy reform at the federal level. All right, so while all appears to be quiet on the Virginia front, and I assure you it is not, what I can tell you is that yesterday, the Delaware Legislature approved legislation to remove penalties for adult cannabis possession. So let's all drop some congratulatory emoji in the chat right now. Good job, Delaware. There's a separate piece of legislation that addresses the retail market in Delaware. So we hope to see good things coming from Delaware soon. And this bill is now on its way to the governor's desk. You know, we're also looking to Maryland, where voters will have the opportunity to cast their vote for legalization. And additionally, more big news, legalization advocates in Missouri and in South Dakota turned in signatures for their November ballot campaign. So also some big high fives to our friends in Missouri and South Dakota. Yeah, congratulations indeed, everyone. Now, you know what, Cassidy? Let's throw that link up there to the story that 13 News Now did. Oh, and also, I got a great one for you too. Who sent me this? Here we go. Let me just drop this here. Oh yeah, just right in the middle of this story. I just dropped a link right in the middle of this story. All right, so if any of you have been to legislative events with us this session, you have likely heard the brilliant Dr. Peace testify about the need for regulations that ensure consumer safety, testing, and labeling being at the top of that list. Dr. Peace chatted this week with 13 News Now about Delta 8, its proliferation in Virginia, and while it today does remain legal to some extent in Virginia, it's still unregulated. So some smart words from Dr. Peace. Check that out. I can see Cassidy just dropped some. Oh, no, you just drop some links to that in the chat. Thank you, Cassidy. Now, also, going to follow up with some good news. I think it's good news. Virginia Beach Police Department put out a handy guide, as they say, everything you need to know about marijuana legalization. And, you know, they did a really good job. Hopefully, we at Virginia NORML made that information easy to access for them when they were putting together this guide. But they did not, they didn't do a bad job. So good for you, Virginia Beach Police, for putting together this poster that the public can take a peek at. Now, listen, I would have done one little bit different. I wouldn't have put www.law.lis.virginia.gov, because number one, who types www? I think we all know how the internet works now, kids. But there's a great website where you can read all of this, and it's got a much, much easier to use URL. That's right. Just go to vanormal.org, and we have all the information you need right there. But otherwise, good job, Virginia Beach Police Department, accurately summarizing what Virginia law actually says. Now, listen, I don't know why they said decriminalization with limitations, because that's a different public policy altogether. They should have said legalization with limitations, but whatever. Let's not split hairs. I'm just happy that they made a poster that is full of actual credible information. Good job. Hey, Christopher, asking about Missouri. They do have a November ballot campaign, and you can read all about that and get involved with the campaign on the NORML website. Just head to normal.org. It's right there on the top of the page. Click on it and learn more about the Missouri effort. And do make sure that your family in Missouri knows how and when to vote in favor of legalization when it's on their ballot this year in November. All right. Oh, look at all these comments that just popped up. Hey, Elizabeth. Good to see you. First of all, hi, welcome back. Elizabeth wants to know what's up with North Carolina. How can we show them the way? You know, the makeup of their legislature is making it incredibly difficult for them to get stuff done in North Carolina. They got a great NORML chapter there. Yeah, but listen, elections have consequences, friends. What can I say? What can I say? Hey, Richard. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, this March, it was the 50-year anniversary of the Schaefer report. And Dick, if you haven't read it yet, I mean, well, we did publish a blog about it. Listen, there's a blog about that on the NORML website. You should totally go read that. But also, Eric and Keith did a live, just like this, on the anniversary of the Schaefer report. And you can watch that video on the NORML website, on our YouTube, on our Facebook. It's embedded in the blog about the Schaefer report anniversary on our website. So, hey, good to see you. Yes, we can. Yes, we can have regulation for all cannabinoids that don't overreach, and that policy is through regulation. You might recall that's what was proposed earlier this session was simply regulation. However, the administration decided to send down some amendments that were handily rejected, and it did not propose regulation. It proposed criminalization. It's not really the right policy choice there, friends. Someone's asking if we use the word marijuana. We do, and so does most of the United States. Either Americans just use it because that's the word they know. NORML uses it because NORML was founded in 1970, and Norkel sounds stupid. Right, but I do advise that when a state is codifying cannabis laws, they ought to use the word cannabis. We use half and half in Virginia. Part of it's caught up and part of it hasn't. We'll get there eventually. We did at least codify last year that marijuana and cannabis have the same meaning in code, so we'll clean up the rest of it. When we can get a bill across the finish line, please vote. Oh, hello, friends at Grow Depot in Virginia Beach. That's probably a poster that Grow Depot could get for their store. Hello, Andrew. Thank you for your question. All right, Andrew says, I renewed my medical registration earlier this year, and they didn't send me a new card. They said they weren't sending out cards anymore. Is this accurate? Kind of. How do you get a new physical card? Andrew, it's pretty easy. You just email and ask for one. I believe the email address is cbd@dhp.virginia.gov. I'm sure Cassidy will correct me if that is not correct. But Andrew, you can head to vanormal.org/FAQs. We have the email address right there. So yeah, you just have to email them and ask them for a card. And so anyone who is registering, whether you're doing a renewal or an initial registration right now, up until the July 1st date when registration will no longer be required, since you're going through the registration process, you should definitely get your $50 worth and send that email to Board of Pharmacy asking for the physical card. They aren't going to mail you a physical card unless you email and ask for it. What they are going to do is send you an email with your registration number so that you can use your registration number and your written certification to shop at dispensaries. And if you haven't gotten your card or your registration number and you think it's been a really long time, just shoot us an email and we'll try our best to help you out. Hey, Ronson. Hi, Peacocks. You're welcome, Andrew. James got jokes. Yeah, we are going to have to debate it because elections have consequences, and that's just the shortest answer there is to that statement. Hi, Marcy. Good to see you. Hey, Fern, thanks for asking. So, Fern, after July 1st in Virginia, patients won't have to register. What will happen is a patient will get their written certification. So that's called here. It's not called a prescription. It's called a written certification. So you'll get that from a registered practitioner. This means a practitioner who's authorized to issue the written certifications in Virginia. You can find a complete list of those on the Virginia NORML website. After the patient gets their written certification, they go to the dispensary, they show their certificate and their ID, they can shop. That's it. Now, the only time this is different is if you are the registered agent for a patient. You would still have to go through the registration process to be a registered agent. And this would include if you are the parent or guardian of a minor patient or incapacitated adult patient. You would have to go through the registration process to get your card so that you could go into the dispensary for or with the patient whom you are serving. But Fern, if you would still like a card, you will still be able to get one. We don't have explicit direction from Board of Pharmacy as to how the process might change, but I don't think it's going to change much. It's still going to be the same registration platform that's in place right now, I suspect. I don't know if it's going to be $50 or if it's going to be the $25 like it is for registered agents and parents. but we'll find out. Just hang tight and we'll find out on or near July 1. I'm sure Board of Pharmacy will send out some information around that date. And once they do, we'll post it on our website and let you know. Thanks for asking, Fern. Yes, Scott, there will only be the recommendation, which is the written certification, required beginning on July 1st. Now, Scott, I'll also mention that this certificate, right, that's what the registered practitioner fills out for the patient. This is most often communicated electronically during a telehealth visit. There's certainly patients that are getting this physical copies of this when they go to in-person visits. This certificate that's currently being used was made by the Supreme Court of Virginia, because I know you will recall, Scott, this was originally an affirmative defense certificate. So this certificate doesn't look particularly fancy. It looks like someone made it at home in Word and turned it into a PDF. It's not fancy. So what happened in this legislation that did a number of things, including eliminate the required registration, is it moved the creation of that form from Supreme Court to Department of Health Professions. We have asked DHP that when they recreate this form over there, that they make it beefier, that they make it look more official. Like, let's put a state seal on it. Let's make it look really legitimate, so that hopefully that will suffice. Hopefully that's enough for a patient to take when they travel to other states that extend reciprocity to Virginia patients. Otherwise, patients are going to continue to ask for Board of Pharmacy to issue them the physical card. So we're working for you, friends. We're trying to make this process as easy as possible, knock down all these kooky barriers. We're working on it. Hey, Eddie. Eddie, if you have misdemeanor marijuana possession, or misdemeanor marijuana possession with intent to distribute records in Virginia, those have been sealed by Virginia State Police. Those were automatically sealed. They're not expunged. Expunged means different things in different states. We've stopped using that word to reference this particular records action. We call it record sealing because the records do still exist, but they were sealed automatically by VSP if they are misdemeanor possession or misdemeanor PWIT. What didn't happen is all of these companies out there that collect your data, they still have it. So typically when a company does a background check, typically they're not going to VSP to do the background check. They're using some company that runs background checks. And these companies still have your data and they're still disclosing it. Now, we tried this session to pass a law that would restrict them from doing so. The House chose not to pass that. So we do know, however, that funding has been allocated for this process, and money has been spent, which is always a good news. When you're trying to get something done, if money's been spent, the state's less likely to stop spending money. Money has been spent to move toward that process of requiring those records to be removed from those companies. So they're still out there at the county, like the clerk level at the court. They're still out there at those private companies, but they are sealed at VSP. Hemp rocks, this is just regular old lager that we have on tap here at the office. Hey, Tamara. Tamara says Hawaii is requiring an unexpired card for reciprocity. How is it working elsewhere for reciprocity? So, Tamara, we've only really heard about DC, and DC has in the past and continues to, in some instances, we didn't call every single dispensary, but we do know that there are dispensaries that operate in DC that also operate in Virginia, so they have a little bit more knowledge about our laws, and they are accepting this certificate, the written certification. In some instances, if someone's traveling to another state and you're worried about reciprocity, the best thing you can do is first start early, but contact the dispensary that you plan to visit while you are traveling. Ask them what they want. And then if you need help with that, you're welcome to reach out and we'll do our best. Hey, Di. Di asks, how much does a doctor charge for a visit? It depends. We're seeing like $79 to $159, but we do have telehealth available. Does Virginia accept Florida card? No, Virginia does not yet extend reciprocity to any other state patients. How long do you have to live in Virginia to get your card here? If you can prove that you are living in Virginia, and you don't have to be a Virginia resident, you just have to be living here. So you could be going to school, you could be here temporarily for work, you could be in the military or military spouse, as long as you can prove that you are residing in the Commonwealth with utility bills or with a lease or something like that, then you can, in fact, get your medical cannabis card here in Virginia. And yes, Di, adults 21 and older may cultivate for personal use up to 4 plants per household. Complete details about that are on the Virginia NORML website at vanormal.org. Just click on the legalization tab. Hey, Michael, thanks for bringing this up. I think we talked about this maybe last week, didn't we? Let's talk about it again because Tamara and I were just discussing this. So Michael says, hey, I'm super confused by the DEA letter indicating seeds will not be considered marijuana. That's right, Michael. DEA did issue that letter. Remember, DEA is a federal agency. Since most seed companies list them as hemp, how does this square with Virginia law on buying seeds? It doesn't. So if you are selling seeds in Virginia and you're selling hemp seeds, then you are obligated to comport with whatever laws and regulations are in place governing the sale of hemp seeds in Virginia as promulgated by VDACs. If you are selling seeds in Virginia labeled cannabis or marijuana, you are breaking Virginia law. Why? Because the definition of marijuana in Virginia, and it's called marijuana in definition in 4.1 code, marijuana, the definition includes seeds. Now, it's great that the DEA issued this letter. It's going to make it a lot easier for us to change the law next year. But for now, and until we can change this definition of marijuana, if you call the product that you're selling cannabis or marijuana, it's not legal because there are no legal marijuana sales or cannabis sales in Virginia outside of the medical program. And even within the medical program, they can't sell seeds because we don't specifically allow it in that program. So hope that answers your question, Michael. We're totally aware of the DEA's letter that they issued, but it doesn't change Virginia law. Are some people doing it and getting away with it? Of course. But you didn't ask me that question. Because what's legal and what people get away with are 2 different things. Hey, Andrew wants to know, does the Virginia Legislature have any plans to change home grow laws in any way? Yeah, but probably not the way you want them to. We did recently discuss how there is no penalty specified for failing to tag one's plants. And since there is no penalty specified, that could, in fact, subject one to a Class 6 felony. That's what happens when there's not a penalty specified in code. That's the default. So that sucks. So I did recently have a conversation with a number of legislators and members of the administration discussing how we ought to rectify that. There are two obvious options. Number one, just remove that from code. Who's enforcing that? And why does it matter? What does that really do for public safety? Not much. Or specify a penalty. And if you're going to specify a penalty, again, who's enforcing that? For failing to tag your plants properly, it ought to be pretty low. So that's the conversation around personal cultivation and what may or may not happen with that. That's not what you were hoping for, Andrew. You're welcome, Di, on your way to Virginia in July. Yeah, see, Di, in July it gets even easier. You just have to get your written certification. Wait, who just said that? Scott Harris said, called Virginia Beach Police and they'll tell you what isn't legal in Virginia. They might, but I think you should probably call us instead because this is all we do. Happy Friday, Della. Di wants to know, how do you grow without seeds? Well, the genetics come in many forms, Di, and if you don't have seeds, then you could have a clone or a clipping from a plant that you intend to clone. But adults 21 and older can share up to 1 ounce of marijuana, which includes seeds and clones, with each other legally in Virginia, as long as there's no exchange of goods or services and it's done in private. Di, right now you are not able to buy clones at dispensaries. And Sam would like you to know that someone was giving them away last summer. The better option is to not have them, don't, the better option is to know someone who will just give you what you need instead of engaging in illegal activity. Oh, thanks, Dick. Good to see you, friend. Sue, we've seen this question a number of times. Sue says lots of people need other people to grow for them. When can we do this? We're not likely to adopt that sort of caregiver model in Virginia. This was very much like a Wild West concept in the early days of medical cannabis and adult cannabis legalization, I guess particularly medical cannabis. And that's not something Virginia is likely to adopt, most certainly not given who Virginians keep electing to represent them. So James asked if there's a limit to tags or is it self-reporting? Tags, the code in Virginia just says you have to tag your plant with your name, your driver's license or state issued identification number, and that they are for personal use. So I don't know what law enforcement is going around looking at people's plants. I mean, the likeliness is that if there were some other law enforcement interaction that could come up. Oh, Fonz, I'm so glad you brought this up. My friend, Fonz says Virginia's law surrounding public use is tough. Yeah, it's not great. It's not as bad as it used to be. Hopefully next year we can get something closer to New York's law. No, my friend, we can't. Because remember when Virginians voted in 2021? Yeah, thanks. It's not happening. until we have a different makeup of our legislature. Virginians did not elect a legislature, in particular a House of Delegates, that would approve a bill to allow the consumption of cannabis anywhere that the consumption of tobacco is permitted. In New York, if you can smoke cigarettes, you can smoke cannabis. And that's what we had intended to do in Virginia. And then we had the November 2021 elections. And then that idea went up in smoke, like so many other things related to cannabis policy that we were going to get done. Anyhow, yeah, that's, I understand it is difficult for patients to consume, whether they're at a hotel or on vacation, certainly. The best we can recommend is discreet vaping products or other products that don't have to be combusted. I'm just going to put this up here because, look, we don't often get like, oh, I love Virginia comments, but yeah, die. This is better. And hey, listen, my friend John Morgan in Florida, with whom I used to work at Disney, now we both work in cannabis policy. I got you beat here, buddy. So you better catch up. Hey, Michael. Michael wants to know any word on budget, including regulating shapes and branding. Just pretend I'm backing slowly into the bushes. I wouldn't be surprised if we did, in fact, see something addressing that in the budget, Michael. Sam, great question. Sam wants to know, even indoors, do you have to label your plants, or is that just an outside thing? You do have to label them wherever they are, whatever stage they're in, Sam. And if you are cultivating outdoors, make sure your plants are not visible from a public way. That means like a sidewalk or the alley or something like that. If your neighbor can see your plants standing in their backyard, that's private property to private property. That's not what that means. But if your plants can't be visible from, a public way. Bye, Scott. Jeff Dean, you missed everything, but fortunately, you can watch this afterward and catch up, my friend. Oh, and speaking of being late to the party, which is what Jeff said, I don't want you all to be late to tonight's party. Tonight at CSZ Richmond Theater, we are welcoming Reading Out the Stoned back to RVA. Yeah, it's the first time that this comedy show is coming back to Virginia post legalization. They were here 2 times before, but now they're coming back, and it's legal because we're awesome at our jobs. So I would love for you all to come out and join us. The show is at 8 o'clock. You can get your tickets right now online. I'll be there. Ben will be there. I'm twisting Cassidy's arm so hard for her to be there with her friends. Come on, you want to do it? Hey, Cassidy is dropping the link to get tickets in the chat right now. Get your tickets, come out and enjoy an evening of laughter with us for Weeding Out the Stone. The show is absolutely hilarious. And they're huge supporters of NORML. So come on out. Sue, you can help other people cultivate their plants. If someone is growing plants at home and they need your advice, that's totally legal. You can absolutely teach people how to cultivate. What you can't do is take money from someone and then give them anything cannabis. So if you're just going over to someone's house and saying, yes, good job, or let me help you set up your grow tent, or yes, I think that is whatever plants get, mites, right? Those things are legal. There's a lot of people that provide those services. then you can do that. Leroy, you could make an earthen roof covered in cannabis plants as long as no one can see it. Christopher, it's a comedy show. It's a comedy show with a wonderful comedian, Alex Gruber. He tours the United States. Please come see the show. It's in Richmond. Kimberly, I will let Alex know tonight that you would like his show to do a stop in the Northern Virginia area. Maybe his next tour, he'll be able to do that. Oh, Daryl, my friend Daryl. Can you have a concealed carry permit if you want? Like, does your medical cannabis registration, I assume that's the question you're asking, does your medical cannabis registration currently prohibit you from having a concealed carry permit? No more so than any other medical record. There's no disclosure of your medical cannabis record unless you disclose it. You know, people smoke weed and own guns now. And according to the federal government, that's not legal. So what about a CDL? Again, your medical cannabis card in Virginia is a medical record, so it's subject to HIPAA laws. It's not disclosed unless you disclose it, or, you know, like if it's your healthcare provider. So ask me again, Daryl, if I didn't answer it entirely. Yes, hemp. We have, yes. So there is being a resident, which means you have an ID card issued by the state because you are a resident here. This is where you pay taxes and file them. Sorry, Senator, I'll call you back in a minute. But you could reside here and not be a resident. For example, when my stepdad was in the Navy, they were residents of Florida, but they lived in California for years. And that's where their home base was Florida. So they had Florida driver's licenses, even though they lived in California. James, like, we have some great people in Georgia trying to work on this, but, you know, Georgia voters vote and they don't vote well. So they keep electing people who, aside from Representative Peake, is he representative or senator? I'm going to go with representative. Sorry if he's a senator. Other than Peake, he's the only one who's into this in Georgia, it appears. No, Jim Belushi will not be there, John, but thanks for asking. Oh, it really is a comedy show, you guys. To the theater, come. That's a fair point, Bonds. The New Jersey Attorney General did rule that law enforcement could consume cannabis while off duty, and they do, in fact, have guns. Listen, Christopher, I can't answer the phone while I'm doing the show. Although one time I did because, no, I didn't answer the phone. I called my partner because Alexa told me that the alarm was, stop listening to me, told me that the alarm was going off at our house and was like, your house might be on fire. And I was like, I'm going to stop real quick and make a call. Shh, be quiet. No, JT, I can see your live chat on Facebook from Virginia NORML, from NORML's YouTube, from I don't know if we can see LinkedIn or Twitter, or maybe people just aren't live chatting us through LinkedIn or Twitter. Christopher, you're funny. All right, friends, this is great. And this is a really long chat, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. But I have a senator to call back, and I have to head over to a theater and get ready for a comedy show. And it probably doesn't involve me wearing this nerd outfit. I hope all of you have enjoyed the latest addition to the background scenery. And that is, in fact, don't spill the wax, this candle from Malin and Getz. It's called Cannabis. It mostly smells like patchouli. So thanks to Malin and Getz for making excellent products. You can get that on their website and smell it in your office too. Oh, Liz, thank you. Thank you, nerd. Thank you right back. Friends, have a great weekend. Tom, thank you. I'm glad you like my outfit. Eris, it doesn't really smell like weed at all. It smells like patchouli mostly, but it's a nice fragrance, and it kind of like, I don't know, maybe makes you think of what it smells like in a place where I don't know. It's kind of hippy dippy a little bit. It's a little throwback. How about that? But I like it. Classic. All right, friends. This has been great. Let's do this next Friday at 4. You all have a great weekend. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat over the weekend. We'll try our best to answer them. And if you need anything, just shoot us an email at info@virginianorml.org, or questions about anything else, you can contact us at chapters@normal.org to get connected with your local chapter wherever you are, or for help starting one. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.